All right, in some breaking news that's coming in at this point in time, Prime Minister Modi will be interacting with leading doctors from across the country via video conferencing on the COVID situation. This is going to happen at 4:30 p.m. And then at 6 p.m., he will be holding a video conference with top pharma companies in the country. So those are two important meets that are going to be held. And in fact, visuals there on your screens of the AIIMS director and Niti Aayog member. In fact, there is a briefing that is going to be happening. We will cut into that.
Because there has been a very clear-cut national protocol, national COVID-19 management or treatment protocol and guidelines, and these were very much in the public domain. And now there are concerns about the appropriate use of certain drugs such as remdesivir, tocilizumab, and also plasma, which was more popular earlier on. Today we are hearing less of it. So we want to clarify both these critical issues. And with me on the panel have esteemed colleagues, very senior colleagues, Dr. Balram Bhargav, Director General ICMR, and Dr. Randeep Guleria, Director All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi. So सबसे पहले हम चर्चा करेंगे कि जो एज प्रोफाइल है हमारे केसेस का इस बारी वो पिछले साल वाले केस प्रोफाइल से कैसा मिलता जुलता है या नहीं मिलता जुलता, तो इसके ऊपर डॉक्टर भार्गव पहले will throw light on this from the data that's available to the ICMR system. Over to you, Dr. Bhargav.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Paul. Dr. Guleria, it's a pleasure. I will present 4 or 5 slides with your permission regarding the National COVID Registry, which was envisaged during the first wave, and we made the National COVID Registry with ICMR, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and the Ministry of Health. And this is collecting data of all the admitted patients in hospitals, and we've compared the profile, and this is collecting data from August, and now we have till April. So we have compared the data of the first wave from September to November, and from February, March, April as wave 1 and wave 2. And we have an analysis of about 9,485 inpatients or patients who have been admitted. And if we have a look at this table, we can see that the age in years is 50.4 in the first wave and 48.9 in the second wave. And at least one comorbidity is slightly higher in the first wave, which is 54.9 versus 48.6. And next slide, please. Next slide, please. Can we move? Yeah. So now the clinical features here are what we have found, that shortness of breath was found to be slightly higher in the second wave. However, the other symptoms like fast breathing, dry cough, sore throat, loss of smell, body ache, muscle ache, headache was higher in the first wave, but only shortness of breath was found to be higher in the second wave, which is 47.5% compared to 41.7%. Next, please. Further analysis of the admitted patients, we looked at death, and the death did not show any difference. So as of today, between the first wave and the second wave, the death is not different. It is 9.6 versus 9.7% of hospitalized patients. Now here you have to remember the patients who were hospitalized. So there could be some selection, but these are hospitalized patients, 9.6% versus 9.7%. Requiring oxygen was higher in the second wave, which is 54.5% versus 41.1%. And that was significant, while the requirement of mechanical ventilation was slightly lower, but significant in the second wave. Next, please. Next slide, please. Can you take to the next? Yeah. So the summary of findings are basically summarized in this slide, that more than 70% of the patients in both these waves were more than 40 years of age. More than 70% of the patients were more than 40 years of age. So the older population continues to be more vulnerable, and only marginally higher proportion of younger patients in the younger age group are, despite opening up of activities. 0 to 19 years, 5.8% versus 4.2%. 20 to 40 years, 25.5% versus 23.7%. Higher proportion of asymptomatic individuals got admitted in the second phase. Higher proportion of admitted patients presented with breathlessness and higher requirement of supplement oxygen in the second wave. There was no difference in the percentage of deaths, and similar trends is seen all across the states, because this is collecting data from hospitals across the country. So it's a countrywide analysis of data. So what were the implications of this? Is the copy the last slide? Copy the last slide. Last slide, please.
Next slide.
So asymptomatic mild illness can be managed at home, do not require hospitalization. Moderately ill patients, if managed as per guidelines, can be discharged earlier. Oxygen supply for care needs to be ramped up. Ventilator requirements not higher in the second wave. Death not higher in the second wave. So this is what I would like to emphasize, that 70% of the patients, even in the second wave, were more than 40 years of age. In the first wave also, more than 70% were of more than 40 years of age. So older population continues to be more vulnerable because they have comorbidities, they have diabetes, they have hypertension, they have obesity, other risk factors which contribute to their poorer course during the hospital. And the major symptom that they presented with were with breathlessness this time, and oxygen requirement was higher, and the death rates were similar in both the groups. But this is just an interim analysis of 10,000 patients at the moment, and we will be collecting more data, and we'll get more wiser as time goes on. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bhargav. This is the data of the ICMR National Registry on COVID-19, जो कि हम बहुत सारे हॉस्पिटल से कलेक्ट करते हैं. तो ये हॉस्पिटलाइज्ड पेशेंट का प्रोफाइल आपके सामने प्रस्तुत किया गया. अब मैं आपके सामने ये बताना चाहूंगा आपको कि जो डेटा हमारा आता है केसेस का दूसरे अलग सिस्टम से, वो हमारा IDSP सिस्टम है, ग्राउंड से आता है, वो हमें क्या दर्शाता है केस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के बारे में. तो ये डेटा का जो 2020 का पेंडेमिक है वो लगभग 49,000 केसेस का है और 2021 का 40,000 केसेस का है. तो खूब सारा इंफॉर्मेशन आपके सामने शेयर कर रहा हूं. उसमें भी क्लियरली अगर हम देखें, और ये डायनेमिक चीज है, आगे आगे पेंडेमिक बढ़ेगी, जो भी आएगा वो भी शेयर किया जा सकता है, जाएगा. लेकिन बड़े तौर पे अगर मैं कहूं कि 30 साल की उम्र से कम, पिछले साल कितने केसेस थे प्रोपोर्शन और अब कितने हैं, तो पिछले साल सारे टोटल केसेस का 31% 30 से कम उम्र वाले व्यक्ति थे, और इस बारी पेंडेमिक में 32%.
Sir, could you say that in English also the figures?
Yeah, I will repeat, no problem. अभी रिपीट करता हूँ. Let me explain, because ये 3 लाइन में डेटा मैं बता रहा हूँ आपको. I'm repeating it. I'm saying this is the data coming from the ground. This includes individuals who were admitted or not admitted, but these are the positive cases. And we have age profile on them. And last pandemic wave, let's say, last year's pandemic wave, under 30 years group constituted and contributed 31% of cases. And now this year 32%. So essentially no difference. पहले भी इन्फेक्ट हो रहे थे, अब भी इन्फेक्ट लगभग उसी प्रोपोर्शन में हो रहे हैं. ये क्लियर इमर्ज होता है. अगर हम 30 to 40 का ग्रुप लें, 30 साल और उससे ऊपर, और 41 साल से नीचे 40 साल तक, then it is 21% and 21%, exactly the same. So this demonstrates, and then of course 40 and above is the remaining proportion that is left out of that, which is about 48%. So essentially, the main message to you is that there is no overarching extra proportion of excess risk of young people becoming COVID positive. जो पहले थे जितने थे उतने ही हैं. जैसे मैंने दोबारा कह रहा हूं, 30 से नीचे थे 31%, अब 32% हैं, और 30 और 40 में 21% थे, अब 21%. तो अगर 40 तक को हम एक कट ऑफ कह लें कि यंग 1.5 उम्र से पहले का है, तो जैसे मैं आपके सामने प्रस्तुत कर रहा हूं, 52%, 53% पहले भी होते थे यही केस, और अब भी उतने ही हैं. तो ये जो डेटा सेट हमने अभी प्रस्तुत किया कोविड रजिस्ट्री से, ये भी उसी के साथ जाता है. द मेन पॉइंट दैट वी आर मेकिंग इज that essentially we do not see a shift in the...
All right, that's an important briefing there coming in with respect to the current COVID scenario and where we stand in India. But on that note, we'll wrap up this edition. And before that, this is an appeal from all of us here at Mirror Now to ensure that in this second wave, amidst the rising cases, we maintain COVID protocols, step out only if necessary, wear your masks, maintain distancing, and if you are eligible for vaccination, please go and get vaccinated at the earliest. Thank you so much.
Well, Director of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Randeep Guleria. Dr. Randeep Guleria is speaking at the moment. Let's listen in.
Higher mortality than those who did not. And therefore, it is not of any use if you start it on day one. Steroids were useful in the later part of the disease when there is more inflammation, when your oxygen saturation again is falling and you have moderate disease. And therefore, I would again urge everyone, kids, don't think that steroids can be given throughout. They are useful only in moderate to severe illness when your oxygen saturation is falling or you are going in for a cytokine storm or more inflammation. The third thing is about plasma. Plasma, there was a lot of interest in the beginning. If you remember, we had a lot of plasma banks also created, but studies from India itself, done sponsored by ICMR, and studies done at various centers showed that plasma therapy had very limited and was not of much use. Subsequently, other studies have been done, large meta-analysis, that is combining number of studies, have also evaluated and not shown it to be very useful. Therefore, again, plasma therapy has limited role. एक और drug है which is now being used a lot, which is tocilizumab. Tocilizumab is required in less than 2% of COVID-19 patients. I would say very few patients need this drug because it is only for cytokine storm. And in the later part of the illness, in those who have very high inflammatory markers who are worsening despite steroids, despite remdesivir, and despite other treatment like anticoagulants. And therefore, uska bhi limited role hai. So isliye I would really say that we must understand that majority of patients who have mild disease or are asymptomatic will improve with just symptomatic treatment. अगर हम उनको कोई दवाई नहीं देंगे वो तब भी ठीक हो जाएंगे. अगर आप यूके का डेटा देखो, यूरोप में ट्रीटमेंट स्ट्रैटेजी देखो, यूएस की ट्रीटमेंट स्ट्रैटेजी देखो, they give nothing for their patients except paracetamol, good hydration, and multivitamin, and all of them have recovered without any treatment. It's only when you have moderate patients who are admitted that you need to look at things like steroids, remdesivir, and you have those who go into severe cytokine storm that you need to look at tocilizumab. Therefore, I think for everyone, for healthcare professionals, for the general public, it's important to understand that by giving treatment when it is not required, you may be doing more harm than good. So I would just like to appeal that please follow protocols and give treatment in a rational manner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Guleria. Thank you so much. And there will be questions. I'm sure you will be looking forward to answering them. जो मैंने आपसे सुना है, particularly रेमडेसिविर के बारे में, वो क्लियर है कि हमें ये प्रोटोकॉल में दिखाया गया है, दर्शाया गया है रेमडेसिविर को एज एन एक्सपेरिमेंटल एंड इन्वेस्टिगेशनल थेरेपी. अब ध्यान से देखिए नेशनल प्रोटोकॉल, जैसे डॉक्टर साहब ने बताया कि इसको बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट दिया गया कि किसी हद तक एंटीवायरल है, मदद है, थोड़ा सा डेटा फेवर करता है, काफी डेटा इक्विपॉइस है, लेकिन एक बेसिक चीज है कि इसको इंक्लूड किया गया है. ये एक इन्वेस्टिगेशनल ड्रग है, इसका इमरजेंसी यूज ऑथराइजेशन है। तो पहले ये मेन स्टे ऑफ थेरेपी माने ऐसा नहीं है, एक एडिशनैलिटी है in the setting of a disease about which we are still trying to understand day by day. Secondly, sir has made very clear that it is not related to reducing mortality. ये मोर्टेलिटी को रिड्यूस करती है कोविड-19 की, ये साबित नहीं हुआ है। जो दिखाई देता है कि अस्पताल में रिकवरी जो है वो कुछ दिन जल्दी हो जाती है। डॉक्टर गुलेरिया, am I right? Can you elaborate on this?
Yes, sir. I think what I mentioned was, और मैंने यही कहा था कि जो डेटा ये अभी तक हुआ है, चाहे रिकवरी ट्रायल की बात करें या और ट्रायल्स की बात करें, किसी स्टडी ने ये नहीं शो किया कि रेमडेसिविर से आपकी मोर्टेलिटी कम हो सकती है, डेथ्स कम हो सकती है। हॉस्पिटल स्टे हैज कम डाउन बाय अ फ्यू डेज, दैट्स ऑल सर।
यस, तो ये भी एक क्लियर होना चाहिए और सबको पता होना चाहिए, और हमारे जो फिजिशियन कलीग्स हैं वो ऑफ कोर्स जानते हैं इस चीज को। तो ये कोई ड्रामेटिक मैजिक बुलेट, सिल्वर बुलेट नहीं है, ये भी हमें मालूम है, मदद करता है किसी हद तक। उसके अलावा एक और पॉइंट आ जाता है, सर कैन दिस बी गिवन इन दी होम सेटिंग? ये दवाई इंट्रावीनस है, इसको क्या हम घर में जो इलाज करा रहे होते हैं उनको दे सकते हैं क्या?
So again, I would like to emphasize two things. जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि this has to be given in moderate illness where person's saturation is falling and who is sick. Therefore, it is not to be given at home. It is in a person who is admitted and needs hospital care. What is happening is people feel कि जैसे हमें एंटीबायोटिक लेना है, उसी से रेमडेसिविर घर पे लगा देते हैं। पहले लोग जब फीवर हुआ तो इंजेक्शन घर पे लगा लिया, एंटीबायोटिक घर पे लगा ली तो अब ठीक हो जाएंगे। रेमडेसिविर इज नॉट लाइक दैट। So please don't look at it like in other antibiotic की, जब जैसे हमने घर में अमीकासिन का इंजेक्शन लगा लिया और हमें यूटीआई के लिए ठीक हो जाएंगे, उसी तरह से घर पे रेमडेसिविर लगा लेते हैं। उसकी इंडिकेशन बिल्कुल अलग है, उसके अपने साइड इफेक्ट्स हैं। इसलिए रेमडेसिविर जो है उन पेशेंट्स के लिए ही है जो हॉस्पिटल में एडमिटेड है, जिनकी सैचुरेशन कम हो रही है, एंड देयरफॉर इट इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर हॉस्पिटलाइज्ड पेशेंट्स ओनली।
Thank you very much. So this is to be administered only 1 minute, only in the hospital setting and only in selected cases who have moderate illness and are receiving oxygen, and then when it is to be given, it is given for a period of 5 days. उसे ज्यादा नहीं देना है और उसी ही तरीके से अस्पताल के अंतर्गत देना है। और ये जो दवाई है, क्योंकि इमरजेंसी यूज ऑथराइजेशन है, ये केमिस्ट के पास कायदे से
All right.